I think we have most of the members here. This was an extraordinary and historic day for this committee, not just to consider a person of extraordinary qualifications, but also to have the opportunity to begin this process of giving this amazing judge an opportunity to be the first African-American woman to serve on the Supreme Court. You'll notice during the course of the day, no one questioned her qualifications. There are no questions to ask. She has time and again reached the highest level of achievement in her own academic life and certainly in her pursuit of the law, and has been honored by this committee on 3 separate occasions to win its approval with bipartisan leadership, and I hope we see it again. There were some questions that were asked of her which she did not have a chance to respond to. Tomorrow she will, and I hope that we're looking forward to her being given a fair opportunity to respond to some of the charges and some of the questions that were raised. We believe that she has a compelling story to tell to the American people. Her close, I thought, was especially touching. She spoke not just as a person aspiring to the Supreme Court, but as a proud mother and wife and member of a family that has been so supportive of her every step of the way. So at this point, my Republican colleagues have raised some issues, and she's had to sit by quietly without responding. Tomorrow she has her day, and it begins at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. I just invite my colleagues if they'd like to say a word. Senator Leahy, who retired the trophy on Supreme Court nominations a long time ago. John Marshall was the first one, right?
John Marshall, well, yes, thank you very much. I've been here for 20 of these confirmations hearings and nominees. They've all been different for one reason or another, but there is not a single nominee that I've heard that strikes me in such an extraordinary way as this one has. Not only her tremendous ability she's already demonstrated, not only the breadth of her background, her knowledge, and her experience, which again stands out among the 20 that I've had a chance to vote on. But just looking at her and knowing, what does this say to America? This makes America look like America if she's on that court. I've been very, very impressed with her. I recall the joy with which she told me about her daughter sending a letter to the president saying she should be on the Supreme Court. Well, I was glad to see the smile on her daughter as she heard what many of us said. I think Chair Durbin has set the best tone for this hearing. Everybody knows how much time they're supposed to have and what they will have. But most importantly, when you set aside some of the rhetoric you hear, I hope the American people hear her answer and hear a real jurist. We should be there to ask those questions, not to aim for sound bites for political reasons, but to ask questions so the American people will know who this is, why she is, and what she'll mean to the Supreme Court of the United States.
Thanks, Pat. Anybody else want to comment, or should we turn it over to questions?
What'd you say, Dick?
Questions. We'll do some questions. Any questions?
Senator Durbin, we heard a lot of Republicans making arguments about the way you handled nomination, confirmation hearings in the past, like the Kavanaugh hearings. How come we didn't hear any pushback from Democrats about your handling of what happened during Kavanaugh or anything else for that?
This isn't a history class. We learned from past experiences, some of which we could control and some we couldn't. We could go chapter and verse through each one of the nominees and what happened. I'm looking forward, and I think this committee is looking forward, to work with the Biden administration to bring the very best to the federal judiciary. And I think Judge Jackson is one of those people.
But do you have any regrets for the way you handled the Kavanaugh proceedings?
Listen, we all learn from life experiences. I hope you do. I do. And some of these were in our control and some out of our control. I don't want to relive that history. I think we're pushing forward with an eye to the future.
Senator, are you worried at all that these soft on crime accusations from some of the Republicans on the committee, not just Senator Hawley, Senator Blackburn went fairly heavy on that as well, that the judge departed downward from the sentencing guidelines. Do you worry that that might risk Republican support for this nominee?
I hope it doesn't. I hope they're fair-minded. But those of us who are on the committee can tell you that every nominee from the Biden administration faces the same charge, regardless of their background, regardless of their record. It is a campaign theme for 2022, and it's played out every time the Judiciary Committee meets considering any nominee. I don't think there's any credibility to it. How could this woman possibly have the endorsement of the International Association of Chiefs of Police and the Fraternal Order of Police and be soft on crime? She's balanced, and her record shows it, and she has 573 written opinions to prove it.
Mr. Chairman, Senator Blackburn also made a cultural accusation regarding a school board that Judge Jackson put him for. You know this nominee. You know her very well. You know her whole history. What was your response? What's your response and thinking on that?
Well, I think that given an opportunity that Judge Jackson will clear that up quickly. She was at a disadvantage today. We had 22 senators speaking to her, many making accusations and asking questions, and she had to sit placidly, calmly, and wait for her day tomorrow. So I trust her response will be a good one.
Senator Berman,
One last question,
do you
yes.
feel confident that Democrats will be able to anticipate and respond and rebut any of the questions that or the criticisms that Republicans will put forward over the next couple of days? And I raise that because Senator Grassley, in his opening statement, says, yes, I know there's some accusations that we've cherry-picked them, but he says, quote, don't worry, we're going to talk about the other ones too.
Well, I can just tell you they can raise any issues they wish, and the American people will be the ultimate arbiter as to whether it's a good faith inquiry as to a person who wants to serve on the highest court in the land. Are we ready? You bet we are.
Do you have 50 votes?
Hmm?
Do you have 50 votes?
We'll count the votes when the day for the voting takes place, not before. How early? Well, we want to have it in the first week of April. That's enough. Oh, committee vote. Oh, no. Let me see. That'll be
So would you put it on the
2 weeks from Thursday. Is that right? Staff, is that right? I think it is. We have to.
Would you put it on the,
Let's get
put
to
it
this
on
vote
the
first.
list for this Thursday?
Oh, they haven't
Oh, we
set the
haven't.
date, says Joe.
We're working on that.
Let's get through the confirmation.
I'll show up for the vote, whatever you have.
Whenever it is, we'll have full attendance on the Democratic side. Thanks, everybody.
I'll all be there.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very
All
much.
right, thank you.
We're waiting until Senator Booker finishes his remarks.